This is a review of the Bose A20 Aviation headset. Got this headset, I want to say about a year ago, year and a half, probably around a year and a half, when I started flying. For those of my regular viewers on here, I've taken my hobby of aviation and actually applied it, if you will, so I'm now actually flying. But this is just going to be a quick overview of this headset. It's fairly difficult to find one of these reviews on YouTube in terms of just generalizing and getting a good idea. This isn't going to be a Lightspeed Zulu versus Bose A20 headphones. Not that I don't like to do comparative videos, but I've never actually tried a pair of Lightspeed Zulus, so I can't tell you anything about them other than, you know, some of the specs. But most of you can find that information anyway. But anyway, this headset came out a little, I want to say Oshkosh 2010 or 11, I can't remember. I want to say it was Oshkosh 2010. So not very old. The last generation aviation headset made by Bose was out for almost over a decade. So, you know, and a lot of pilots still use them. And that was my whole point when I went ahead and bought these, is I said, you know what, I intend to make this a career. I want to do this for a long time. I want to own a headset that's going to last me a very long time. You can buy $300 aviation headsets that break and sound like garbage, and you can't hear anything, and you're going to want to replace those all the time, or you're going to want to end up spending more money because you'll buy one of these eventually. So moving on from that, this is the carrying case it comes in. It's pretty convenient actually. For those of us who fly using iPads now, you know, you don't always need a large pilot bag, or if you do, you can just kind of throw it in the back with your paper charts, just the emergency stuff. But when it comes to this, I pretty much just carry my iPad mini and this, because I can go ahead and keep my logbook back here, any forms I might have, weight and balance, etc. In this case, there's just some rental forms I have back there. And then also inside, it has a nice little flap, and I keep my medical in there and my pilot certificate as well, because the only time I'm ever going to really need to take this stuff out is when I'm going to be flying. And if I'm going to be flying, I'm going to have my headset. Sorry, one moment, the jet's flying by. That's in San Diego, right next to the airport. Kind of ironic I didn't do that on purpose. But anyway, I keep my medical and my pilot certificate underneath this. That way, anytime I'm going to use them, I'm going to be using my headset. So might as well have both. That way I always know where they are, rather than your wallet or anything like that, where, you know, you can lose your wallet. Things can just, it's safe to have it in there. That was actually a recommendation of my instructor when I was first learning how to fly, so I went ahead and applied it. They actually even have this little pouch right here, where you can put your license in. I just put mine in there. It's just a personal thing. Yeah, and it's you can remove it, it's just Velcro. So yeah, it's just pretty much the case. Now when you first get it, or you first get this, there comes with an really short aux cable that actually plugs into the back of the headset, because this can be used as a pair of headphones to listen to music. And they're pretty good. They're just as good as the Quiet Comforts, except for better noise cancellation. And your aux cable just runs into here. The aux cable that came with this one was faulty. It really didn't matter to me. It was flimsy. I got a different one anyway. An aftermarket one will work just fine. So for those of you who aren't sure or don't understand how to read online specifications, yes, you can get an aux cable, plug it into here, plug in your iPod, your iPhone, and listen to music through your headset. Now when you're doing that, you have to have the power on, meaning the noise cancellation is active at that point. You don't actually have to have your general aviation tube plug into the aircraft to listen to music. This is just for radio communications. These don't matter when it comes to listening to music. Now, for those of you out there who are looking at buying this headset because they think it'll be a really good music listening headset and you don't intend to fly, don't buy these. Just buy a pair of Quiet Comfort 3s. They're more convenient. They're not as heavy. You don't have to deal with all this extra garbage. Okay, this is just for those of us who are flying. Just stick with a pair of Quiet Comforts. It'll serve you much better. I have a pair of Quiet Comforts, and I use those on a plane when I'm not actually flying. Alright, now getting back to the actual headset. You have, this is just the two-plug general aviation. Fits most general aviation airplanes, Cessnas, Pipers, etc. There are also different connectors you can buy, and if you end up buying this headset itself, okay, and you get the two-plug general aviation one, but you need the 6-pin, you can actually remove this mic and this whole attachment down here. You can unscrew it, and you can actually buy a different plug. Because let's say, you know, you're flying an airplane that requires the 6-pin, but maybe tomorrow you're going to fly a Cessna that has the 2-plug. Well, you can swap it out. It's no issue. Now, I believe the whole adapter and the mic it still costs like $200 to get another one, but it saves you from having to buy multiple headsets for different types of airplanes. So, getting back to the control unit itself. It's just your power, just turning on, and then the slide is going to blink just to indicate that the active noise cancellation is on. It will continue to blink. There's no way to turn it off. It's just the way it is. And it annoyed me at first, but then I realized why they do that. It's so you know that it's on, because it's very easy to leave this headset on after you've turned off the airplane, and you just tuck it away back in your carrying case, and then the next time you pull out your headset and you're about to go flying, you try to turn it on, and you don't have active noise cancellation anymore. You just got passive noise cancellation. So it takes 2 AA batteries back here. So I've been getting about 40 to 50 hours out of just 2 AA's, just standard Duracells. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, going back to the issue of your headset's not going to turn off unless you turn it off, that actually isn't quite true. There are 2 switches back here. For the audio, you have stereo or mono. It's just a little switch down there. And then you have auto off. If the headset goes more than 5 minutes without any kind of communications going through the microphone, not listening to music, any kind of communications coming in and out of the aircraft, then the headset will automatically turn off to save power. Now, if you want to listen to music and only listen to music, you have to turn this off because you will not be able to, your music will turn off every 5 minutes. You'll have to keep turning it back on. I generally use this to listen to music from time to time, so right now it's set on the off mode. But if you are afraid you're not going to remember to turn your headset off, just go ahead and flip that to on, because for those of us who fly, even if you may not be talking, there are going to be ATC communications for the most part that are going to come through, so your headset should stay on. Just go ahead and put these batteries back in. Just that, and this just clips down. It's got a nice little rubber grip back here. Now going back to the front, you have your these volume controls for each individual earpiece. Now these don't actually control the volume of the earpiece when you're just tuning in to your ATC. What this is for is if you're listening to music or any kind of phone call or something like that, and you want to adjust the volume per earpiece. Now you can adjust the volume for air traffic control just to see, hey, I want more on my left ear than my right ear. It will turn down, but not necessarily up. If you're listening to any kind of music or anything like that, and you need to be able to hear the air traffic control a little bit louder, you could just go ahead and tune these up or tune these down. But the actual radio in the aircraft is going to determine the volume of communications, just standard off these on the headset. Now, this one, I was stupid. I bought the Bluetooth function. It's convenient. However, you'll probably use it once or twice. I've had to make a phone call when I was a passenger, just sitting back seat. And I mean, it's nice, but truth be told, if you're making a phone call on an airplane and you're flying an airplane, you're probably wrong. But at the same time, most of us cruise at a pretty decent altitude, and especially if you're not over large cities or anything like that, you're not going to get cell service. you're just too high, and that's not how the cell towers transmit their signals. So really the only time this is good to have is if you're on the ground. Let's say you're taxiing back and you need to get fueled up. If you're really so impatient that you need to make a call while you're taxiing, you should be concentrating on the airplane and not your call. But if you're really that impatient, sure, get this. But it's $100 you don't really need to spend. Like I said, I've barely used it. It's just kind of one of those things that's on there. It's an extra $100 that just I wouldn't recommend it. And then you can turn the Bluetooth off. So that's pretty much your control unit. You have these two pins, or these two clips, I should say. Yeah, you have these two clips that just because this is so heavy. Well, it's not it's not heavy, but it's heavy when you're wearing the headset, and it's going to sit there and pull on your head. You just have these clips that you can fasten to your shoulder harness or your seatbelt, and it just gives you enough slack so when you're moving your head around, you're not sitting there pulling tension on the cord. So now actually getting to the headset portion of this review. Push out the side. Left, right, indicated by the letters. And your mic. Great mic, sensitive, never had any issues. Don't have to have it too close to your mouth. So the earpieces themselves, pretty close, a little bit bigger than you'll find on the Quiet Comfort 3s. Construction's a lot better than the Quiet Comfort 3s. This headset overall feels very sturdy when you're wearing it or when you're holding it. It's actually made in the United States. The Lightspeed Zulus are made in the United States too. So anybody who argues that if you buy the Bose ones, you're supporting the American economy, well, if you buy the Lightspeed Zulu ones, you're doing the same thing. So, hold on one moment, wait for the jet to pass. There's an A320. All right. So anyway, you have the flexible headpiece up here, and though it may, this is actually, this feels like aluminum. I'm not quite sure. Spring has a bit of tension, but it really doesn't squeeze your head. It's just enough to have a nice fit and a good seal, but it really doesn't press on, and you can wear this headset for hours and really stay comfortable. If you have really large ears, this headset, from what I understand, is not the best thing for you. From what I read, that the Lightspeed Zulus are a little bit better just in the ear cup size. I have fairly large ears, and these work fine for me. So just try them out. The reason I bought the Bose A20s is because I like Bose products. I've never had any issues with them. Great customer support, and I've never really had a product of theirs I didn't like. So I spent the money, got them, and I really haven't looked back since. So just talking about the noise cancellation. Obviously, you have this the foam earpieces that create that nice seal for passive noise cancellation. And then you got the external mics for active noise cancellation. Now the passive noise cancellation on these headphones aren't bad. I've had my fair share of taking off and telling myself, man, it's a little bit noisier in here than usual. And then I realized I didn't turn my noise cancellation on, because you actually don't have to have your active noise cancellation on for radio communications. Many of you out there know there's just passive headsets, and they're powered by the aircraft. The aircraft's going to power your radio communications. The batteries are only there to power active noise cancellation and auxiliary audio input. So you get a nice seal with these. Passive noise cancellation, not bad. The Sennheiser passive ones, I've actually tried those. The passive noise cancellation is better. Not terribly noticeable, but they're better. But the active noise cancellation, when they go on this headset, it's there. You can really notice the difference. Nice quiet environment. You can hear everything. Communications are pretty clear. What's really nice is when you have an airplane full of people who all have the same headset, because then it's just solid communications throughout the aircraft. No issue whatsoever. I've never had any issues where air traffic control doesn't understand me. So, and that's common for those of you who fly. It's kind of common to run into that with lower quality headsets. So the only thing I will say is just a safety tip that I've actually learned from one of my instructors. When you're starting your airplane up, don't have these on, especially with the noise cancellation on, because there's actually a gentleman who had his noise cancelling headphones on. He started the airplane. It was I believe it was a Cessna 172. Yes, it was. It was a Cessna 172. He started the airplane, and the starter didn't disengage once the prop got turning. So the flywheel was just sitting there spinning, the starter spinning. It's making a very loud, consistent whining noise. Well, what do you think the headset did? It canceled out that noise. So he actually ended up flying the airplane to Catalina Island with a starter that was fried because the engine, it didn't disengage. So lo and behold, he didn't hear it, he didn't know, he took off, he flew, he landed, shut the airplane off, enjoyed Catalina for a little while, went back to the airplane, and lo and behold, he can't start the airplane because the starter's fried. And the best thing about Catalina Island is there's no place to get it fixed. So there was a stranded man and a stranded Cessna 172 SP out there. So just a word to the wise when you're starting your airplane, no matter if it's if you have noise canceling headsets or not, just have your headset off, listen to the airplane before you start moving, because it's just because we all know what the airplane's supposed to sound like, and when you have this on, it really alters your perception of the aircraft and what it sounds like. So that's just my quick review. I hope you enjoyed it. Just general brief overview, nothing too technical. If you have any questions, feel free to post. Naysayers, I review my comments, so don't even bother. Alright, have a good one.